Good afternoon. Tony Dattino here doing my Monday evening Live with Tony broadcast. And tonight's broadcast is going to be about why is memory a skill that's important for people that are in the service industry. But before we dive into that question, let's talk about the weekend, the brackets, the basketball tournament's moving along. We have a couple of games this evening between four of the remaining 8 teams, and we'll see who winds up getting to next weekend's Final Four. So we're moving along. Though the Saturday, Sunday games are playing pretty late. I'm not sure how many people are getting up on the following mornings and going off to work or having to get up early and do some chores or shopping. But at least we're down to the Final Four or the Final 8 right now, and we'll get to see 4 of those teams tonight and 4 of those teams tomorrow night, and we'll see who goes to play on Saturday. And not sure where my bracket is anymore. It's kind of gone up and down, but I do have Gonzaga to win it all, so I'm still at least in the running for the final. But in any case, I was talking with a few people today. I actually had several really good phone conversations today, and the conversations all centered around how do you make sure that you can improve your customer service and the results that you deliver to customers? So when they leave your domain, of whether it is in a store or whether it is in a hospital or a hotel or a restaurant, how is it that you can build assurance and use the thoughts of a person's memory to improve the outcomes that you get in their satisfaction and or your ability to recover in the moment that they're still with you? And, I founded the United States National Memory Championship in 1997. It's been an amazing 23 years of holding competitions until COVID kind of shut us down from the live, and now we're going virtually. And we are moving along with that. But the question that, people ask was, first of all, how did you ever get interested in memory? And why do you host the U.S. Memory Championship? And as I've learned more and more about it, so why did I create it? Because as I was starting to do research on the human brain in the early 1990s, I began to unravel the fact that any learning mind, any brain that communicates with other humans, how do we build relationships and leadership skills, we're going to use our memories. And therefore, how does can one improve their memories? And are there skills that we can learn that help us to get better at memory and retaining information, and that being regardless of age? And so what's amazing to me is so many people subscribe to the myth that the older you get, the poorer your memory will be. And I subscribe to the thought of the older you get, as long as you're practicing and utilizing, working it, right? Working it, the stronger it can be, and the more you can retain and use for creativity and innovation. I think of it as I, now again, haven't been to the gym in a bit, but I think of these gentlemen that, Jack LaLanne would be the guy I'd use as my model, but looking at Jack LaLanne into his 90s, was still physically fit, his muscles were there. He was constantly working out, and he built the Jack LaLanne fitness spas because of what he was able to teach and do and learn. And our brain is that same way. If you go to the gym today and you see men and women that are working out and you look at their muscles, they're saying, wow, and the pleasant thing is there's a good number of them that I'd put into the senior category. They're senior citizens working their muscles. Well, this is like a muscle also. It's not a muscle. We don't categorize it in that sense, but it's like a muscle. And if you are exercising your muscles, what happens to them? They get stronger. They get better. Well, the brain works in that same fashion. If you're exercising your brain will get stronger and actually will get better regardless of your age. So to that degree, what are some of the things that you do to exercise your brain? Now, let's take it back to if you're in the service business. You're engaged with a person, and we can be at a hotel. So people are traveling again today. So you're in the hotel and the hospitality business, or you're in the restaurant business. How do you ensure that people leave your restaurant and word of mouth is going to carry the messaging that you want them to carry? Because it's by referrals. And how many people are looking for restaurants that are open and how many serve good food? So there's a new Mexican restaurant that opened up here in our neighborhood, and talking with a few people about they panned it. Don't go there. Don't go there. Now, how could the restaurant have done something about that? How can a hotel do something about the results that they get from a guest staying at a hotel, and know what's going on before surveys come out, or before we go out into YouTubes, or we go out into the internet and tell people how terrible this location was or how awful this meal was? What can we do about that? And what does it have to do with our memories? So I want you to step back and I want you to think about it. You're someone serving a guest, or you're serving a meal. You're putting people into rooms in a hotel. You're getting them onto airplanes if they're traveling, or you're doing something to serve them in some capacity. How do you know how well your service has been? And why is it important? Because the thing you want to know and the thing you want to do is you want to know what's been encoded in their mind as a result of their experience with your care and service. And you want to know that as their brain is encoding the experiences and or their memories. So as they're encoding their own memories, and you're looking to have them retain pleasant memories, and you want them to retain good experiences, you want to be focused on what can you do in providing the service or the dinners or care, the room, to implant, encode positive memories. Because it's those experiences that convert into memory that then leaves them from your domain and has them speak about the experience. And people are going to talk about experiences, good or bad. So what you want to make sure that you're doing is leaving them with a positive interaction, a positive experience, because what we know about memories is first thing they saw, how you see them, or the first interaction they have. Anything unusual during the course of the experience itself that stood out, like an alarm went off or somebody was jumping up and down, some emotion was a part of the experience, and how you left them. So you think of them as bookends. What was at the beginning of the experience? What was at the end of the experience? And what was in the middle that might have been emotionally charged? And that's the normal cycle of what we define as memory rhythms. So now what would you want to know as you're serving someone and you want to encode? Well, what you'd like to know is what their thoughts were on the input side, meaning they're on the input side of coming into your area of service. And what's the greeting like? How do they greet it? What can they remember about that? How might you sit them? How might you take an order? How might you acknowledge those principles? Because those are going to get encoded, and people will remember primacy, recency, outstanding. Now comes the experience itself. Now we want to be as smooth as we can. We want to be as focused as we can in taking care of the person and giving them trust and confidence. We want to give them the trust and confidence that we're there to serve them, and it's their well-being and their meal or their service or care that we want to be at the top of the list. We're there to serve them. So any employee interacting with a guest has to have that in the foremost of their brain, that they're there to serve your guests or customers or whomever the people are that you're providing your goods and services to. So now the experiences take place, and now it's time to pay a bill, it's time to check out. Now it's time to leave. What would you like to know about that? Well, very often as I sit in places, or when I have sat in the past, because I'm not sitting anywhere right now, what you want to know is, well, how did they feel about the service? How did they feel about their experience? Why? Because, well, remember what we said, emotions are going to charge retention. They're going to charge up the encoding of the experience, and therefore, what emotions are they leaving your domain of service in? Meaning, did they feel good about it? Were they enthused? Did they smile? Was there some laughter that was brought in? Were they angry? Was there something that didn't go right that caused them to be a bit stressed? Something that came along that caused them to, you globally missed the expectation, and therefore they leave with a bad encoding and a bad experience, which they'll surely tell at least as many people as will listen to them. Even in our socially distanced world with the YouTubes and different methods of communicating on the internet, they're sure to at least let 10 to 12 people know. And I liken that back to what I've always said to people is, have you seen a good movie? And this is how movies build their box office hits. Hey, that was a great movie, you got to go see it. Versus, hey, that was a terrible meal, you never need to go there. Hey, those people were fantastic. They treated us with a lot of courtesy and respect. They had some jokes. They made us laugh. They met all our needs, and then a couple. Boy, that was a unique place that we went to that really took care of us. That hotel, they had safety procedures all in line from the time we walked in and how they had us put our credit cards in, the gloves that people were wearing, the masking that was there, the signs that were on the bedroom door in terms of the cleaning and how the rooms were assured. Gave us a level of trust and confidence that our safety was important to them, and they're investing in their resources to make sure that that stays in place and that happens, and they communicated to us very clearly and well. So I was looking at I'm looking at my next Amtrak trip, which I'm planning to take early May from Florida to New York, and I go to their website, and boom, there's this pages about if you get the safety and the distancing and how the seating is and how you get on a train and what the station drops are and things. A whole big deal about COVID-19 and the safety precautions that they're taking in a very progressive, proactive manner, leaving you with the confidence that your safety is at the top of their mind. And I'm like, wow. And that's where I would be safe to go. And I hear people talk about, well, some of the airlines now are closing down the middle seat, meaning they're not closing it down. They're letting people sit in the middle. Some people cough or they're eating or they're doing. And now I'm sitting there in a row of three, and I'm not too sure about wanting to be on a plane with people coughing or eating on a plane. That's closed quarters, yet they have great ventilation systems. So now how do you figure that one out? So what's the bottom line? Why is memory important? Because in the act of delivering the service goods, whatever the experience is, you have to realize that each interaction you're having with the guest is encoding up in here. It's encoded in their memories. And what you would love to know is when they leave your care, what would they say about the experience that they've just had under your good arms and legs of serving them. And so I close with a very simple question. You might ask them, can you tell me what were a couple of things that we did during our interactions or during our service that we provided that really made you feel that we had your best at heart in our service, and that we really cared about you being here and we wanted you to leave feeling really pleased that you made the right choice to come to our hands and legs and bodies to where we can serve you in the most efficient and positive way possible, so that you would build enough of trust so that you could leave and share that experience with others. And wouldn't that be a great thing to know, so that in the event that they weren't going to share with people a good thing, you might know what that was that caused them to kind of recoil and pull back, so that you can adapt and have a conversation with them in those moments and figure out maybe there's a chance for you to clean it up. So to that regard, you have a good evening. This is Monday evening in the 5 o'clock hour. I shall see you on Wednesday evening in the 5 o'clock hour. Have a good week and enjoy your games tonight and tomorrow. And all of our teams can't win, so I will not wish on upon you that may your team win. I'm after Gonzaga and Baylor to finish in the finals.